Okay, let's discuss today careers to do with Saturn. So, Saturn is very nondescript in terms of jobs. It can kind of cover so many different things, and obviously need to also see what sign it goes into, what nakshatra it goes into, what other influences are on the 10th house or on Saturn if it rules your 10th house. And having said that, so we know also that anything to do with Saturn is to do with people. It's to do with service. It could be that it could be very, very mundane jobs that you really you serve others, you look after people. So any form of industry that's to do with looking after people and catering for others, anything that takes a long time to do, anything to do like making like marbles, mining, anything to do with preservation, like using salt to preserve fish, or oils to preserve, like for example peppers and things, or any form of preservation will be to do with Saturn as well. Anything that takes a long time to develop and gets better with time will be to do with Saturn. So it's quite nondescript, and it's hard labour as well. It's things to do with like hospitals, laboratories, where things take a long time for people to develop stuff, look into things, prisons, hospices, anything to do with the dead, preservations, like museums and things like that. So let's discuss a few things to do with Saturn. So we said that it could be anything to do with people. It can also be governmental jobs as well, because we said some could be, but this will be like the civil servant jobs, all of those. So even people like, for example, who have Martian jobs like the police and everything, but if they're working for obviously they're working for the people, so that could have an element of Saturn as well. So things to do with concrete and soil, stones, crystals, coal mining, things like that to do with marble or granite, sort of darker metals, not expensive metals, like things like that. They will be to do with, iron ore, petroleum, what else? Or any form of mining for different things will all be included in that. And anything also, like obviously you can see that petrol will definitely, or oil will be, because it's dark in colour as well, so it's very much significators of Saturn. Saturn is also an airy planet, and it's a cold planet, so anything to do with preserving in ice, freezers, that kind of thing will also fall into that. Anything to do with bones and teeth, because also they're ruled by the sun as well as Saturn, but anything like that. So dentistry will be part of that as well. Breakages of bones and things, people who deal with that in the hospitals, they will have some form of Saturn going on there as well. So it will be like things to do with that as well. Any form of factories and farming, agriculture, all of that will be to do. So if it was a dairy one, will be like Saturn and Moon involved in that as well. Things that take a long time to grow, you just know, like forestry, all of that kind of stuff can have elements, because it's quite labour intensive, takes a long time to look after things. Things like tar, for example, roads, making the roads, any form of making bridges, all of those infrastructure things, they're all to do with Saturn. Saturn also rules politics as well, and government, as we said as well. It's also insurance, life insurance, things like that, and anything to do with health, so hospitals, visiting with hospices, care homes, prisons, anything like that will be to do with that. And anything that like taxidermy or anything like that will be to do with Saturn as well. And it rules all kinds of mortuaries and funeral directors and things like that as well. And also obviously rules death and disease, so any form of thing to do with that will be like autopsy and things, they will be ruled by that. It's also like rules things like leather and suede as well, because they're dead skin basically. So these will be the things that will be ruled by Saturn. I have to say though, I always look at I think if you want to look and just see what's going on with your career, so if Saturn rules your 10th house, you want to also look wherever it goes in your chart, and look at second from Saturn. So that'll show you the income that you'll get from Saturn. You can do that in any chart. It doesn't have to rule your 10th house, but you just have a look. So if Venus is, say for example, Venus in Taurus, so if say Saturn was in Aries and Venus was in Taurus, then you know that you'll be doing something to do with serving people in the beauty industry or healing or something like that, or food industry, perfume, floristry, something like that. So this is how you know about these things. Right, I'm going to actually have a look at some charts now. The very first thing, first chart is chart of the wonderful Alan Turing, who actually, through his wonderful mind, he created the very first what would be a computer, and he was a code breaker, and he managed to intercept a lot of codes from Nazi Germany, and because of his code breaking, they actually war finished much sooner than it would have done otherwise. He was basically a mathematician, computer science. He created the first computer. It was called the Enigma machine. He was an analyst and a scientist, and he worked for the government code and ciphers school at Bletchley Park in the UK. So he was a great man. He was a real sort of like introverted chappy, but he was very much like the person who worked behind the scenes and served his country. So he's a Taurus ascendant, and the ruler of his 10th house, which is Saturn being like rules the 10th house of Aquarius, of other people, innovation, is gone into the first house in Critica. Critica being obviously to do with government, because it's ruled by the sun, but it's very, very much about detail and getting all the little things just perfect, critiquing and cutting out the stuff that are, deciphering codes, breaking codes. So wonderful. And you can see Jupiter there as well, being the 8th lord and also the 11th lord of big groups, also aspecting Saturn as well. So in a very secretive sign, Scorpio, so behind the scenes, fantastic. 8th lord in the 7th house, amazing. So he was a fantastic, he made such a difference also to the world, really. So otherwise so many more millions could have perhaps been killed. You can also see that Mars has got an aspect on his 10th house as well, so that's pretty amazing too. So that will be Alan Turing. Then we're going to look at Tony Blair. He's also another Taurus ascendant, and he's 10th house ruler. Ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is in the 5th house of politics, and retrograde in Chitra. Chitra being quite a calculating, quite a calculating, and it's very close to one of the really sort of Yogataras as well. So it's so he has gained a lot. You can see that he has literally had this very successful career, because Saturn has gone into the 10th lord in the 5th house, fantastic Raja Yoga, and being aspected by an exalted Venus as well. So it's amazing that he had such support from media. It was amazing how whatever decisions that he made, good or bad, were actually passed. Incredible, really incredible. He really did have a lot of people pushing for him to become, because he was quite young, and nobody would have thought somebody like him would have been actually become a Prime Minister of UK. And he was Prime Minister for 10 years, and he took us to war, Iraq and Afghanistan war. Quite controversial, and out of that he has made one. I can't believe that politicians can earn so much money. It's incredible. I mean, he is worth millions, absolutely millions, and incredible, absolutely incredible. What a career. So that's Tony Blair. And but you can see also from Saturn, the second house from his Saturn is also what would be Libra. Libra will be the 6th house of serving, and also politics and powerful people, really, Libra. Okay, so last chart we're going to look at is an Australian actress, producer and director called Cate Blanchett. She's a very famous Hollywood actress, but she's not one of those people who's really in your face. She demands really high pay. However, she's not really like glitzy like a lot of the but she has that glitzy side, but she's just like a very normal person, really. She's like Aries ascendant. Obviously Saturn rules her 10th house is in the 1st house in Aries with Moon, which is the 4th house. So she's famous not just at home in Australia but also abroad. 4th house being Moon being masses, 4th house being Cancer, being overseas. Saturn, although is in debility sign, still rules her 10th house, 10th lord in the 1st house will be a massive Raja Yoga for her, and also she has an exalted sun in Kritika, so that will be her 5th lord. So 5th house is very much to do with entertainment and media, creativity and the arts in the 1st house. So it's not comfortable having Sun and Saturn together, a debilitated planet and an exalted planet in your 1st house. So she's had to really work hard at things. But having said that, it's amazing. It's wonderful, really, how she makes it very creative. 5th lord in the 1st house, so multiple things going on, with also Sun and Saturn itself create another fantastic Raja Yoga. So do Moon and Sun, and also Moon and Saturn as well. And they also create really good Dana Yogas as well, because obviously Saturn also rules the 11th house of gains from work as well. Very, very successful. I mean, she has played so many fantastic jobs. She's very much in the background. She's a very serious actress, plays very difficult roles, and her career has been very slow and very steady. So she really is very, that's again Kritika, choosing really excellent roles for herself. That's it for Saturn. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.